You have the money, you have the house, you have people who answer when you call. And right now, you're standing behind a curtain in the dark, watching a car you don't recognize slow down outside, unable to tell if it belongs to a friend, a rival, or the police. 10 years ago, you had almost nothing. This is how you climbed from a nobody on the edge of Medellin to a man close enough to Pablo Escobar that leaving became more dangerous than staying. A bead of sweat moves down your temple. The car stops. You hear a door. Your hand, wrapped around an expensive watch you barely remember buying, is shaking. Years earlier, same eyes, no money, you're standing on a hillside looking down at a city that has never once looked back at you. Below you, ordinary life keeps moving. Buses, street vendors, kids playing in an alley that floods every time it rains. You count out a few worn bills on a scratched wooden table and feel the specific disappointment of watching money disappear before it even arrives. Then a car pulls up down the block, expensive, out of place, and the man who steps out of it wears shoes that cost more than your family sees in a year. People notice him without looking directly at him, which you'll later understand is its own kind of respect. You watch his watch catch the light, and something in you decides, quietly and completely, that you want to be looked at that way. A friend leans in with a vague offer a few nights later. No details, just an opening. You hesitate outside a backroom door where older men are already talking, low voices leaking into the corridor. And when you finally step inside, nobody looks up. You are exactly as insignificant as you feel. An envelope slides across the table toward you. Nobody explains what's inside it, and you understand instinctively that asking is the wrong move. You do the job, you come back. What lands in your hand is more cash at once than you've ever held, and you walk home with your palm pressed against your pocket the entire way, unable to stop smiling at nothing. That night, you set the money down next to your family's ordinary, worn-out kitchen things, and the contrast is the whole point. This is what the beginning of wanting more actually looks like. Small errands follow, sealed documents, a package delivered without ever knowing what's inside it. You learn the first real rule fast. Don't ask unnecessary questions. You learn to be early, reliable, forgettable. 3 qualities that turn out to matter more than courage ever will. Then one day, a chair that used to be filled sits empty, and nobody explains that either. And for the first time, you understand there's a version of this world where people simply stop appearing. Your shirts get better. You buy your mother something she wouldn't normally let herself have. And for one warm evening, a full table, real laughter, it genuinely looks like this life has already solved everything. Then someone knocks on the door who wasn't invited, and your smile disappears mid-sentence. People start noticing your reliability. You're waved into a nicer car than you've ever ridden in. Your old neighborhood slides past a tinted window, already starting to look smaller than you remember it. You arrive at a countryside estate that makes the back room feel like a different lifetime. Well-dressed men talking easily among themselves. And you understand for the first time that what you joined is bigger than you ever imagined. You see him before he sees you. Pablo Escobar, mid-conversation with somebody else entirely, exactly as unremarkable in person as every rumor insisted he wasn't. You straighten your posture without meaning to. He walks right past you. The wanting sharpens instead of fading. An older lieutenant hands you real responsibility, and for the first time, you're the one other people wait on. A younger recruit asks one question too many, and you give him the exact same silence you once received. And later, alone, you catch your own reflection and recognize, uncomfortably, exactly who you've become. The apartment gets bigger, the watch gets better. You walk into a club and people move aside before you've said a single word. On a balcony above the glowing valley one night, you actually believe, for the length of one drink, that you've won. Then a car you don't recognize sits parked across from your house for one long night and is simply gone by morning. You tell yourself it meant nothing. At restaurants now, you sit facing the door without deciding to. A friend makes a joke you don't really hear because you're watching everyone who walks in behind him. Voices rise behind a closed door one evening while you wait outside it. And when it finally opens, the room goes silent the moment you walk in. Someone tells you, flatly, that somebody betrayed the organization. There's no scene of violence, just an apartment that used to be occupied and now isn't. A chair knocked slightly sideways. A drink left unfinished. Nobody has to explain it to you a second time. That night, you wash your hands longer than you need to. In the mirror, it's the same face. The eyes are different. Meetings get smaller and more exclusive. And then, finally, Pablo speaks to you directly. Nothing dramatic, no speech worth repeating, just a simple acknowledgement that lands harder than anything you've earned up to this point. You try not to smile, walking out. A more senior man clocks that pride on your face and gives you a look that tells you exactly how competitive this world actually is underneath the family language. Now people wait outside for you the way you once waited for somebody else. A restaurant owner refuses your money outright, and for 1 second it feels like respect, until you catch the fear underneath his smile and understand it was never respect at all. You step outside a crowded room for air and notice, without anyone doing anything overt, that people quietly give you space. Surrounded constantly and somehow completely alone. The pressure changes shape. Newspapers you can't quite bring yourself to read closely. Police vehicles moving differently through the city than they used to. You start closing shutters you never used to think about. An associate simply isn't around anymore, and nobody can tell you whether he ran, got arrested, or was taken care of. And the not knowing is its own specific kind of exhausting. Another empty chair, and this time you understand exactly what it means without anybody saying it out loud. You keep a bag half-packed at all times now, not as a plan, just as a habit you can't stop yourself from forming. Your family asks why you're moving them again, and you genuinely cannot give them an honest answer. You reach rooms now that used to feel unreachable. An untouched meal in front of you at a table where everyone else is just as tense as you are. A phone rings in the room and every single head turns at once. Word comes that another man is gone, and you find yourself staring at his empty chair the way you once stared, years ago, at a wealthy stranger's watch, except now the watch is yours, and you don't look at it with pride anymore. Standing deep inside a beautiful property one evening, looking out through the ornamental ironwork of your own gate, you notice, for the first time, that it looks exactly like the bars of a cell. The poorest version of you owned almost nothing, and could still walk down any street in the city without once checking a single passing car. Then the whole structure starts coming apart at once. Sirens more frequent than they used to be. Properties sitting empty. Men speaking urgently in rooms you're no longer fully trusted inside. You pack a single family photograph into a suitcase, which is somehow harder than packing anything else you own. Your family leaves without you. The house that used to be full of noise goes completely silent, and you're standing in it alone. Headlights cross the room exactly the way they did at the very beginning of this story. A car stops outside. You genuinely cannot tell whether it's a friend, an enemy, or the police, and that uncertainty is somehow worse than knowing would be. Your hand shakes around the same expensive watch. For 1 second, you're back on that hillside at 19, looking down at a city, wanting all of this so badly you could taste it. The version of you standing here now just looks exhausted. You spent years climbing because you believed power meant nobody could ever control you again. At the top, you found the exact opposite waiting for you. Everybody below you was afraid of you. Everybody above you could replace you without a second thought. The government wanted you gone. Your enemies wanted you gone. And the organization that made you rich turned out to be the one thing in your entire life you could never safely walk away from. How far would you have made it?